Hey guys, welcome to Podcast Fandom Premium. I'm your host, Nina.
I'm Donald.
And I'm John.
And we're back to begin a brand new show. It is new to us. It's new to everyone. It just debuted last night. It's Kindred. And you guys were just explaining to me that it is on FX on Hulu. So it's not like if you have FX through your, I guess, regular cable subscription, it's not airing, I guess. You have to specifically have a Hulu membership. I'm assuming, and there's no longer a free account on Hulu, right? Like everything, you pay for everything.
Really? I don't know. I haven't experienced that in a while, so I don't know.
Like, I'm trying to remember, like, I feel like when Hulu first launched, there was, like, a free package that, but I'm not sure what you would have had access to. Never mind. Anyway.
Yeah, you could watch, like, some, like, episodes and stuff, and it would have ads and stuff.
Okay.
And I don't know if they still do that.
I mean, this shit still has ads.
Right?
Well, yeah, I was going to say the package that we have has ads. And I think we talked about this probably on a Ranking of Kings podcast. I'm trying to think of things that we recorded since we've been here. I feel like, because I talked about it with John, but like, if I can hear my dog panting in someone's mic.
Mm-hmm.
It's mine! What a trick!
Plot twist.
Your kids aren't listening to me, and he's over here needing to go out.
Oh, they don't ever listen. What was I saying? God damn it, I forgot.
We were talking about something on Ranking of Kings.
Oh, right. Unfortunately, our Hulu has ads because we kept getting Herschel Walker ads. And then election night came and that shit was close, like so close they had to do a runoff. And I was like, why am I here? It's like, this is so terrible. So then anytime we watched anything on Hulu, for even longer, I was subjected to Herschel Walker ads. Yeah, but thankfully he lost. Yeah.
And then he lost, like, it was still a little close, but he lost pretty, like, easily in the runoff. And it's like, oh yeah, because, you know, Republicans didn't have the white governor to bring them out to want to vote. Because they're trash. Anyway, we can move on.
So yes, we are going to talk about Kindred, the first episode. I didn't realize, I watched it for the first time today, though, even though it debuted last night, December 13th. I didn't realize until I went to watch it that they dropped, like, the entire season. Which makes sense now, because I also didn't realize until literally just now when you guys told me that it was only available through this, one specific place. So that makes sense.
One place! God damn it!
He's so embarrassing. Oh my God. He's like when you have like a bad kid and you're in like someplace in the mall. Not that I would know. But you've seen those kids. That's how I feel. It's like I love him to death, but I don't know why he does this. Because he was quiet for hours before we started. Like, and then we started, and it was just like, what the hell?
I mean, I can barely hear him.
Okay. Even when I'm editing, like, it's sometimes it's faint, but it's like still too much for me. Like, ugh. Anyway. So yes, we're going to talk about Kindred, and we're only going to talk about the first episode. And I feel like, I don't know, we'll talk about it, I guess, at the end of the podcast. I feel like one episode per podcast is appropriate, but it's enough, right? Like, I feel like enough happens in the subject matter. It feels like enough.
Yeah.
So we'll get there. But as we mentioned, it's been a minute since the three of us have podcast together. So we thought we would shoot the shit for a little bit because, a lot of things have changed. Yeah. Oh, and because this is the first episode of the show, even though it's premium and available on Patreon, it will be released for free. So, the Shoot the Shit would be available for free anyway. But if you want to hear us talk about the rest of Kindred, the rest of the season, you'd have to go over to Patreon. Okay, so you guys, I really don't have anything.
Really? Okay.
I really don't. I don't. Like, because I've had the least amount of change, I think, since the three of us. Like, I'm the one constant. I'm on every podcast. So they've heard from me. They know. But, Donnie, you have traveled across the country.
I have traveled across the country.
And John, you have traveled across the country, but two different ways.
John went a little faster than me.
Right. So, really, that's what I mean. Like, other than, like, I've read some books and I've watched some K-dramas, you guys have pretty much been, up on me. So, who wants to go first?
I guess
Donnie,
I can
you
go
first.
So yes, I drove cross country in 3.5 days. The drive wasn't that bad. I tried to drive at least 12 hours a day to get here. Ran into snowy roads, snowy mountains. Just leaving Oregon, going into I went to Idaho. Idaho.
It's time for geography.
Right, I
Listen to me. I'm like, like I don't fucking know.
I didn't know. Who knows the fucking middle of the U.S. Like, I didn't even know what state was going to come up when I was just driving.
He could have said he drove through Alaska, and I would have been like, yeah.
I still don't. I was like, how come I didn't go through Montana? I went through Wyoming. Like, that's my mindset.
So funny to me.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy because we raised children. We're both like,
I'm like the nerd who, like, yeah, I do know all of those states and where they are. Like,
but the crazy thing is that once you leave Portland, it turns to just conservative red.
Oregon.
Oh, everything from Oregon all the way.
It's Oregon.
I know, but every state from there all the way until I got to fucking Kansas City was all like nothing but Trump signs, Trump billboards, Trump flags. Like, and then there's nobody. Like, literally, those states, I had no internet, like no.
Like, you
Wi-Fi
could have,
signal.
you literally could not have paid me to do that drive.
There was literally nothing in Wyoming.
There was no place I would have felt safe.
when y'all went the other way, didn't y'all drive?
Yes.
Wait, hold on. John broke up a little bit. When what?
When y'all went the other way, when y'all went from here to Oregon, y'all drove, right?
Yeah, we drove the southern route through Texas, which is nothing. There really is nothing.
Wait a second, excuse you?
Texas was the boringest drive. Well,
okay,
listen. Now the boringest drive.
First of all, I'm no fan of Texas. No offense to the Texans listening. Especially if you're my close friends, you already know how I feel about that state. And I've lived there. And I've done that drive a few times. Like, I've had to drive through the state a few times. And you're absolutely right. It is it just feels like you could drive for 12 hours and you're still in Texas. It's just expansive and then you 12 more hours and you're still in Texas. It's like, why? Why am I still in Texas? It's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Yes. I would never...
All you see is desert and fucking windmills.
Yeah, I would never want to ever do that again. But yeah, we did the southern route.
At least they have windmills now and not just oil rigs.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fuck they're called.
Wyoming was the same way. Wyoming was nothing. It was a lot of windmills. You saw some ranches, but it was mostly just desert because there was nothing there. Like literally, you get to a city, populated city, and then all of a sudden there's no other city for another 6 hours.
You didn't see Kevin Costner out there?
I did not see Kevin Costner. I tried. I didn't even see a fucking buffalo.
He got pulled over, though.
I did get pulled over.
What state did you get pulled over?
In Wyoming.
What about Kevin Costner?
It was Kevin Costner's son.
Kevin Costner.
John, he pulled me over for going 6 over the speed limit.
He's bored.
That's what I was like. Bored and he saw your out-of-state plates.
That's what I told him. I was like... He had nothing else to do.
But I was still fucking nervous as hell because I was a fucking mule.
Allegedly.
A mule. Will you stop being dramatic? Weird.
Yeah, but those states will fucking hang you for that shit.
You were only driving through the legal states. So you went through Colorado, and then you ended
I didn't go through Colorado. I skipped Colorado.
No, you went through Colorado.
yes, you're right. I went through Colorado. Like I literally at one point, I think I left Nebraska, and I was on the phone with Nina at the time, and then all of a sudden it's like, you're in Idaho, and I was like, or no, I was in Iowa, and I was like, it was.
It's a wonder he made it home.
Right? I'm talking to Nina, I'm in Nebraska, and all of a sudden, you're welcome to Iowa, and then like 5 minutes later, welcome to Kansas. I was like, what the fuck?
Wait.
I just got.
One night he posts on Facebook and he's like, I just crossed the M-I, crooked letter, I, crooked letter. And he was like so proud of himself that he did it all like right. So I just crossed the Mississippi River in like 30 minutes.
I copy and paste that. Don't worry about that. I wasn't going to put that shit.
And then a couple of minutes, like 30 minutes later, he goes, oh, no, my bad. It was the Missouri River.
Look, I crossed the Missouri River 4 times, and I don't even know how. Like, that river must fucking just take up the whole.
It is
all those
amazing that you made it home.
Then I finally crossed the Mississippi River into St. Louis, and then all of a sudden I'm in fucking Illinois, and I'm like, how the hell did I get to Illinois? Did I take a wrong turn?
Donnie, did you have a map?
You passed Bugs Bunny in Albuquerque.
I was so confused because I didn't know Illinois went like it was that like it met up with.
Did you pick this route ahead of time, or was it just
I just
like
went off of Google? I just said,
gas and vibes?
Donnie, did you go to MapQuest and you printed out this whole thing?
And as he went, like every day, he printed out a new part.
Donnie just driving with a random McNally in his lap.
I just remember doing that too, printing that shit out.
Looking at the grids. He's
when we first moved to Georgia, we had to do that because there wasn't like we didn't have GPS or anything like that.
Because it wasn't mapped.
We had to do the MapQuest.
Listen.
And I remember one of the first jobs I had here, I had to travel to a bunch of different Home Depots, and I had to print out the MapQuest of how to get to those Home Depots.
Mm-hmm. I remember
we had that big old road atlas, remember?
Yes, but I remember because I've lived in so many different states, that was just my life for a long time. Like trying to find a job, you're looking up first what you can do, and then I'd have to have that big ass map looking up the address, and then I have to go online and print out directions and have it in the passenger seat. You're risking your life.
Reading.
Right? Looking over in the seat, reading the directions and driving, and it's like a new city. Yeah, because I moved around a lot, so I remember. It was not fun. Anyway, but you made it here.
Yeah.
You did it a lot faster than we did it the last time. On purpose, though. Like, both times. We chose to take our times on the way, and you chose to. You were just like, I want to hurry up and get home. Because you were, oh my God, he was so, oh my God. You were stressing me the hell out. And I get it, because it was very stressful. It was like shit we'll probably never talk about, but it was just like the most stressful 2 months of our entire lives. Or like, the only time I think more stressful was when you were sick. Top 2 times. This is definitely top 2. So, but anyway, but it got to a point where it's just some days it was just like, okay, this is what we have and this is what we can do and this is all it is, you know? But it's not the end of the world because this is what we have. But like Donnie was kind of going through it, I think it's safe to say. I'll let him share what he wants to share, but like it was manifesting in like the funniest ways sometimes because he's, you know, there's not the time difference. And my body got adjusted to it, I think, pretty quickly. And up until recently, like I was going to bed at like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. But he would like message me like really late, and it would be like, I'm thinking of getting a tattoo. I'm like, what? And he'd be like, no, I'm serious. Like, you know, and he's sending me like designs of tattoos, and I'm like, okay. And then you went to like an art museum, and you were posting all this stuff. I mean, it's like you went to your grunge era. And I remember looking over at Kaylee at one point. I was like, I think Daddy's finally having his midlife crisis.
Finally.
I've been
so
waiting.
You gonna get a tattoo, Donnie? What are you gonna do?
Yes, I am getting a tattoo.
What's it gonna be?
An abstract line tattoo. I've got pictures of it. Could share it in the group.
Yeah.
But I want something abstract. But it's difficult to find a tattoo artist that can do that.
He was like looking up like how should I do it and what should I look for, and I was like, you know, a lot of artists have you know, the Instagram, so you can go get an idea of like their styles and what they can do and all that. And at first, I think I told you go walk around different shops and like look at the wall, but then it's like, no, you literally cover more ground, just go on Instagram. And then like, I feel like less than an hour later, he's sending me a link and he's like, this guy is Korean and he's here in Portland.
His tattoos are fucking beautiful though.
They are absolutely gorgeous. He's like, but he's booked until next year. And then he writes back, and he's a really good looking guy.
Got to drive back?
Drive back.
I would absolutely. The drive wasn't that bad. The worst part for me was just being alone, and that was like just being those 2 months or whatever it was there. I was alone, and that's
1 month.
Hard. 1 month. Well, still 1 month.
It felt like 2, I guess.
It did. It's 1 month being completely alone with nobody to talk to, nobody. Like it was rough.
We are so different.
We are. Like you lived in a hotel for a whole week and you're like, this is the best ever. Not me. I'm different.
I'm built different.
It's kind of adorable.
Look, I need companionship. I need companionship.
I know. But then he gets here and it's like separate bedrooms. Everybody's just like kind of, I don't know, doing their own thing. I don't know, I've kind of resigned myself to those are the kids that we have, you know? They like to do their own thing. I told them to go out and do stuff. Call John, go do stuff.
Dude, John's like 4 hours away from this.
Well, absolutely. Well, first.
John, come get a hotel out here and let's hang out.
I was like, well, first we can segue into what John's been up to. He wasn't here. I think you wrote the other day, and you wrote, because honestly, Donnie has everybody has their own bedrooms, and Donnie's room is like furthest from
I'm in the
us.
West Wing.
He's in the, and it's weird because, again, we were here for a month without him, and so we just got used to just being in this part of the house, like the three of us with the dog, and then just like... Yeah, and then venturing to the kitchen, which is closer to the West Wing, when we needed stuff. But like we both bathrooms, like the house has what they call, I forget, like there are 2 master suites, so there's 2 master bedrooms, and each with their own bath. But so basically everything we needed was like on this side of the house. And now that Donnie's been here and his room is over there, it's so weird. Like, I'll be like, go tell your dad, or sending messages to each other. That's weird. We went from like medium space to very small to like kind of big.
Good.
So anyway, so this past weekend, Donnie messages me from the West Wing. And
he's Pony Express.
Yes, it's like, I don't know how you guys do this. I'm going crazy. Meanwhile, I'm like studying, and so that's like, anyway, we'll talk about it. There's like, I feel like there's stuff that you could be like going to look into doing that I think will be good for you. Stuff that I'm absolutely not interested in.
Yeah, throw out ideas.
I don't know shit what she's talking about.
Neither do I. She's not cryptic and shit.
No, I mean, I don't mean to be. I just
like orgies and shit. Like, eyes wide shut.
I'll go find some hookers to blow.
No, but I mean, when I say, oh my God. Like, okay, I'm most interested in, I could do like museums and stuff like that. I want to do like, not bar crawls, but I like to do like going, maybe bar crawls where you just go have a few cocktails here and there and, have a little side dishes and stuff like that. What else? Hanging out with friends, going to the movies. But you like to do like hiking stuff.
Not necessarily. I like
amusement park stuff.
But I like more social things. I've missed that a lot through fucking work and all that stuff, so I've realized that.
Well, we have people here now, like I said, but again, this past weekend when he wrote me, I was like, call John. He's like, John's where John is. And so, John, where were you this past week?
Last week I was in Los Angeles. I went back out there. The end.
For why?
Sorry.
No,
for why?
Because I backed a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can talk. I went to a screening. I can't say what the movie was.
Okay.
I don't think. But I
was going to say, because I was like this, when you said that, I was like, what? Because I legit just thought this was like a last minute treat yourself self-care getaway thing. I knew nothing about this, so he has not said anything.
Yeah, well, it was back in, God, I think it was really early in the year, probably like January or February. Mm-hmm. I backed a movie, and it was supposed to, like, the screening was supposed to happen like in May, mm-hmm. but then like it got, delayed, and then it was like, I want to say it was like November, like the first week of November, I got an email, and it was like, hey, we're having that screening December 5th, and I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, and they said I needed to RSVP before like it was on a Monday, and I had to RSVP the Monday before, like at least before. I think it was November 28th or something.
Okay, so like almost like a week before.
Yeah, like a week before the actual screening.
Okay.
And I was like, I put it off, and I was like, I don't know, because like, I mean, not only is like a flight right now like more expensive because you know airlines are shitty, but also it was like 2 weeks notice or whatever, so right. More expensive than. But I was like, fuck it, and then I ended up going, and yeah, it was fun. Like and I mostly what I did was just meet people and see friends and stuff.
Who did you meet that you feel comfortable saying? Because I've seen some photos, but maybe I've missed some stuff.
Yeah, I can say I met up with Tiara.
Oh, I didn't know that. Did I know that? I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, it was nice. That was the last time that I went. Well, I don't want to say her business, but anyway. So yeah, I went. So I was there on Saturday. So I got there. I'll just tell you my whole week. I don't give a shit. I was like, y'all are gonna be trapped here now. So I showed up on Saturday. I flew out. I got flew out on on Saturday, and because it was like a late notice thing. The flight was not as early as I usually like, especially going out across the country. It's it's better to get an early flight. But like going west, it's a 5-hour flight, but given the time difference, it's only like 2 hours, right?
Right.
So like I left here at like 1:30, got out there at like 3:30, got to my hotel at like 5, and then I was like, I stayed in the hotel that night. I was like, I'm not doing anything. And so I had dinner and it's a nice, hotel, and it's got a bar and a restaurant in it. And so I had dinner there, got drunk unintentionally.
Why'd you say it like that?
What?
Why'd you say it like that? Like, also aggressive.
Because it was.
You got aggressively drunk.
No, and it was the most drunk I've ever been. And listen, I'm an adult, right? I'm 35 years old, so it's my choice, right, that I did it. But it was also the bartender. Because the bartender kept giving me free shit. And I was like, all right, cool.
I mean, you can't not drink free stuff.
Right?
That's just a waste.
Listen, I would have put a pin in this because this is John's story. But, the luxury of being a man.
You never got any drinks.
But, I can't be all, cavalier about how that's how you end up dead.
You can't get drunk. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't. Right. So to say, you can't turn down free, it's like,
Yeah, you can. You can.
You absolutely can. But I get it. Totally different situation. Go ahead.
So I had dinner, and I drank a few things, and then I woke up in my hotel room. I'm like, oh my god, this might get darker than I thought. But then it was fine. And then so Sunday.
Oh my god, how hungover were you? Because see, that's the thing. Thank God.
No, I've never been hungover. And surprisingly,
that's amazing. Because honestly, that is the worst part about drinking. If you can, no matter how good it tastes while you're doing it, you get to that point where you're going to pay for it later, and it's the worst. And for me, when I'm hungover, I'm a pooper, I'm a vomiter. It's the worst.
Yeah, I
absolute worst.
That was another. I think genetically, I'm kind of. I get that from my dad.
Do you come from a long? He's like, I come from a long line of drinkers.
Yes. But I was trying to. Yeah, so I met some people at the bar. It was fun. That's the fun thing about the drinking in a bar, I guess. But then Sunday, that's when I went to. It was John and Vinny's in Los Angeles.
At first, I thought you were saying like listeners or something, like people I should know.
Yeah,
like,
John and Vinny. You know those guys.
Like what? Okay. So you went a restaurant?
Yeah, it's a restaurant. It's like I think there are a handful of them in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
We went there. It was great. Really good food. That I think I saw, Nina, you were making. Was it Casio Pepe?
Yes.
Did you
There's a very. I'll tell it when you're done. Funny story behind that, but go ahead.
Well, that's what we had. We had that, and then so that was Sunday. Then Monday was the screening of the movie. And I saw the La Brea Tar Pits because the screening of the movie was at the SAG-AFTRA building, and it is right beside the La Brea Tar Pits.
I'd like to see those.
It was kind of cool. I mean, it was nighttime, so like the museum and stuff. Like I didn't go into it because it was closed, but like it's right there through the fence, so like you can see it and smell it. No, it doesn't smell good.
There's a volcano underneath there. You gotta be careful.
I know, right? You gotta watch out.
Shut up.
That's literally what I thought of when I was.
Right? That's like everybody knows tar pits because of volcanoes.
But yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool just to see that. And then, let me see, Tuesday, I saw our friend Mandy.
Mm-hmm.
Went to, what was it? El Compadre. Is the place it was on? It's on Sunset. Went there. Also very good food. Then Wednesday, I saw our friend Aquila, and we went to Gracias Madre. Is the place? It's like a vegetarian Mexican place. It was really good. There I remember it was like tamal calabaza or something like that, and it was with fried butternut squash. Oh, it was really good.
Oh my god, like I am so hungry right now.
And then like fried plantains we had, and then pumpkin cheesecake. That was the dessert. It was good. And then,
but it wasn't good.
It was amazing. The only thing that I didn't really enjoy of like anything that I had was, and that's all it was. Like that was just, seeing friends, having food. That was it. I didn't do any touristy shit. I didn't want to. But the only thing was like margaritas. I had 2 margaritas. And
like we're back to drinking.
Well, I mean, that was the thing. After Saturday, I was like, I'm not going to do that. But at El Compadre and at Gracias Madre, they had margaritas, and I had a mango one, and then I had a watermelon one, and both of them tasted good. But I found that I don't like margaritas enough to finish them. Like they have a good taste, and then you start it, and you're like, okay, that's enough. Like it's just like one, like I drink like half of it, and I'm like, this is enough.
I love tequila.
I would absolutely punch an old woman in the throat right now for a mango margarita.
Over by that shopping center where everything is, there's a margarita bar.
I love how you could tell we live in a place so small.
Lady.
Wait, what?
I said keep the old ladies away. Like, Nina's going to go over there and have a margarita. Watch out. She's going to punch somebody in the throat.
What was I saying? I love that you could tell we live in a place so small that Donnie's like, over in the shopping center where everything's at. And I'm like, yup.
Yep.
20 minutes away, but
he just names something new, and it's like, yep, of course that's there. Of course there's a tennis court there. Of course.
That's where everything goes.
That's where the movie theater. That's where you went and saw Black Panther. That's where everything is.
Actually, we might be talking about 2 different areas.
No, the movie
But then
theater,
again,
the Margarita
like,
Bar is right in front of the movie theater.
when we went, it was just like dark, and it was, oh my God, it was just like, I don't even want to talk about it. It was such a scary experience driving home because it was raining and dark, and it's Georgia, and it was like a new car, not a new car, but one of my dad's cars. But I'm saying it like my dad is like rich and has a bunch of cars. He doesn't. But he does have two. They're not like fancy or anything. And he let me use one. And I literally have only used it the one time to take Jack to see Wakanda Forever. But it was just like raining on the way back. And I just was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to run off the road and I can't see. And every motherfucker here has like the brightest headlights for no reason. Like,
oh my God. Driving on the freeway when you get into like fucking just the South. Like,
the South. You crossed that line.
That Nixon-Dixon line. He said that shit with such venom, too. He's like,
the South.
The ghetto.
All the fucking big trucks and these bright-ass LED lights. Oh my God, I wanted to fucking scream.
Yeah. Big trucks, small penis.
Jesus Christ.
Then I flew home on Thursday.
I forgot we were still talking about Constitution. I thought we were just shitting on the South now.
But that's the thing, is like, because I flew, well, I can shit on the South all day, but I flew, at least the people here, anyway.
I get it.
I flew at 4:30. I flew out of LAX at 4:30, which means I got here at like midnight. And then I had to get a lift home at midnight.
Wait, you flew out 4:30 in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the time change.
Right. Okay.
So it was like, I think that guy, the pilot, had his foot on the gas because we got here. Like, I know, like going east to west. I think this is like me conjecture, I don't know shit about piloting, but I think the reason that it takes longer to go east to west is because you're flying like into the jet stream, and like going west to east, it's faster because you're going with the stream or whatever. But like usually, I say usually, like I've done it one time before, but it was only like an hour faster. It was like 5 hours going out, 4 hours coming in. This time it was like 5:15 going out and like 3.5 coming back.
It's crazy.
I was like, this guy is fast as fuck.
Sorry, I'm
going with fast planes.
Sorry, I'm getting some gum, so you're gonna hear it. I've been addicted to chewing on spearmint gum, like 2 pieces at a time or so, and just so I can get like the taste and then spit it out.
I mean, I do the same thing.
Okay, good. And it's all inspired by the fact that my sister, I saw when we got here, her hair, she dyed some of her hair purple. And I asked her like what she used. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try that on my grays. So I ordered the little, I think it's called like Overton conditioner dye. And my grays were like, no, nice try. But the dye smells like spearmint gum. And that just happened to be my favorite gum flavor. What's yours and why is it spearmint?
Me? Shit, what is the flavor even? I don't remember. I chew Eclipse gum. And whatever the green
That's what I'm chewing
is.
right now.
Is it green?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. That's what it is. Green.
Fist pump. Woohoo! That's so amazing. That's literally what I have right now.
Yeah, I buy the cup. Yeah.
I'm that Leo gift right now. Yes.
Yeah, if we can get Eclipse to sponsor this podcast.
That would be amazing. All right, so listen. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, on the flight out there, because it's a long time, I watched 2 movies. On the flight back, I also watched 2 movies, but one of them was a Mariah Carey concert, which was great, and then the other one was Salt, the Angelina Jolie movie.
Yeah.
I just rewatched that. But out there, I watched Confess Fletch. Have y'all seen that?
I tried to. I couldn't get into it.
Oh,
I liked it.
John Hamm.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the.
I think it's on Amazon Prime or.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the originals, and I remember sharing the trailer when I like probably soon after it dropped, and I had no idea that it was going to be available for streaming so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't pay attention to like the rollout stuff. But yeah, no, I haven't checked it out yet. And I think it was Akila that tweeted that it was good. And I was like, oh, that's actually good to hear because again, I was such a fan of the original. But you said you liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I felt like it was just a fun movie. You know, like it is. Mm-hmm. It's the same character as the Chevy Chase movies, but like it's a completely different story. It's a completely new story. But like it's good. I think John Hamm is good in the role. I think it's because like he's like handsome guy, but like I don't know. He does.
I was gonna say he does goofy, kind of like surprisingly well, and I don't know. Maybe this is gonna come off mean, and I hope it's not because I don't mean it to be mean. Because I actually had a John Hamm crush once upon a time. I was just gonna say though, I wonder if it's just us, maybe giving white men who are tall more credit than they, because like he's good looking, but he's not like. Do you know what I mean? I think some of it might have been the Don Draper role.
Yeah. And
the suits and the haircuts. Because, like, after that, I feel like he's just been, like, a white man. Like, it's like he's been, like, kind of like Ben Affleck whenever he was not with J-Lo. Just some white dude going through life with his, like, white guy looks. And, So I say all that to say, maybe I shouldn't say surprisingly, he plays Goofy surprisingly well. But also, he's an actor. He's supposed to be able to, do different things. But, so, anyway. Yes. I can see him being goofy is what I should have said and left it there.
No. You're going to get the shade out. No, so it was good. I felt like they could just make, like, 10 of those. And then it would work. It would just work. The other movie I watched was Breaking, the John Boyega movie. Have y'all heard about this?
No, I think I'm thinking of a different one. This is not the one where he's like clearly a man who's dying. And he has a young daughter. And you just know it's something going to make you cry. And it's like he knows they're spending their final days together. I'm assuming because you haven't said anything that it's not the same movie.
Well, that's you said like. I mean, he does like those are similar. There are similar things.
Really? Let me look up.
I mean, he has a daughter. Like he has a young daughter in the movie, and it's about. I mean, it's not a spoiler. Like it's based on a true story. First of all, and he like it's like Dog Day Afternoon, or like John Q.
Oh my God! Hold on! Stop!
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We were talking about two different actors.
Wow.
But in my early defense, who I was thinking of is not black.
Does that make it better?
Yes. Absolutely. Like, I went to YouTube and I typed in Breaking Trailer and I see John Boyega and I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? I'm like, I said, and I was like, oh, I was thinking John Cho. And there's a movie where he is, it's like he has he's like a single dad of a teenage daughter and he's it feels like one of those things where the trailer's trying to be like about it, but the vibe I'm getting is that he's like terminally ill, and I think they go on some sort of like road trip together so that they can like, so that they can have this time together. And it just feels
don't
like
make me go.
There you go. And it just feels like something designed to make you cry your liver out. And I have no desire to experience that. So yes, my bad. What you're talking about is the movie that I thought looked a lot like John Q.
Yeah, and it is. It is very John Q. It's very Dog Day Afternoon. Mm-hmm. It's a guy who has been pushed to like the limit or whatever, and he's like, got to take over this bank.
Sometimes you just got to take over a bank.
Got to do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's a fine movie. Like, it doesn't break any ground. Like, no pun intended. But it doesn't break any ground. But like what it does is it gives John Boyega a very good role to play. And Nicole Bahari is in it, but like she doesn't really have anything like big to do in it.
Yeah, she like works in the bank, right?
Yeah. And then
it felt like
Michael K. Williams is in it.
That's right. He's the cop on the outside. It felt like, honestly, it felt like one of those, watching the trailer, I remember thinking, this feels like a movie that I would have expected them to have made years ago in their careers. Not now. Like, the caliber of the three of them, like that type of like plot. Again, thinking it felt, and not to say that it's, because I haven't seen it, that there isn't something that I'm missing from the trailer that makes it different, but it felt kind of like formulaic, and it just felt like something I would have not expected them, the actors involved, to make now.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But it was good. Like it was good. It wasn't like amazing. Like you gotta watch it. Like the one thing that I would say is like it is like John Boyega is really good in it, and
I'm
Michael
sure
K.
the
Williams,
acting was just great. Great
and
actors,
like Nicole Bahari, she wasn't like it wasn't bad. Like it just like the character just wasn't much of one.
Right.
So like she just kind of stood there most of the time. But like, yeah. It was worth watching. It was something that I would say, like, especially to see Michael K. Williams, and then to see John Boyega, acting, like doing a good job acting. Yeah, and that was it. That's the whole thing.
Extend for your little vacation. Okay. I just want to say two quick things because we talked about movies and people feeling things. That I finally got Kaylee to watch. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And my daughter at the very end of it, like, and I've seen it now, like, I've lost count. Like, we own it. Like, I purchased it through Amazon Prime back when you could for the first time. So whenever I want to watch it, I just will go watch it. And I still cry like a baby. And I knew that watching it with Kaylee, that I would, like, this wouldn't have been the time where I didn't cry, right? Because she's a big part of the reason I cried when I watched it alone in the theater. So anyway, we get to the end, and it's all the stuff that usually makes me cry, and it's like, it's hitting me even harder. And I look over at her, I'm like, and the credits are rolling, and I'm like, so what'd you think? And I had heard her like sniffling a little bit, but I wasn't like sure. And I didn't want to look because some people it's like a private thing. Like,
don't look at me.
Yeah, don't look at me. But you know what I mean? It's like, why? It's like if I'm in a room watching TV with all of us, and it's like something sad, I don't need to confirm who's crying, But anyway. So anyway,
It's like when I play you my favorite song, you better fucking listen, and you better be dancing.
Oh my god!
I'm just like, listen.
What's wrong with you?
If I were like, hey, this movie, Finding Neverland, I'm going to show you this movie, and then if you're not crying, I'm throwing you out.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Like, I meant, like, just like in general. Like, if we were all watching something for the very first time, and it ended up being sad, and like we're sitting in a room, and you have people sit around the room watching TV. It's like some people are sitting on the floor, some to your left, behind you, whatever. I wouldn't look around to see who's crying. Whether I was crying, I would just like let people have that moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we're different.
Yeah. I love watching reaction videos. Like, I was telling Kaylee about, oh my God. I guess I can talk about it kind of, sort of. But there was like an episode of Chainsaw Man recently where she hasn't seen Game of Thrones, and I had to explain to her the cultural reference of the Red Wedding, where it's just like this shocking thing. So, oddly enough, though, I do like watching people react to things like that. Like shocking moments where people might get upset and cry and things like that. Like, this is kind of spoilery, I guess, but like so-and-so's return at the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, okay.
Like things like that. Like I knew, like I even have Jack's reaction to that, as a matter of fact. Like I recorded that. But yeah, but like live, and I wouldn't be all in your face to see if you're crying. You're mean, John.
I'm not getting into my face, but like when I saw Wakanda Forever, and I we got to the moments where it was like everybody should be crying, and I was like, if I gotta sit by these people, I'm gonna look and see how they're reacting to this fucking movie.
Look, that movie started out with you should be crying.
Oh my God! And speaking of which, like when I'm like Donnie's like
going through it.
Yes, I'm telling. Like at one point, I called Donnie Kaylee in here, and I was like, and again, let me just say, like it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. And there were certain things where it's just like maybe I'm kind of like spoiled, maybe. But for the most part, it was just, it's been isolating, scary, demoralizing. It's been a lot of things. But I've had the kids. I've had the dog, right? So I knew it was different that Donnie was alone. So, like, you would just send me the weirdest messages, talking about the weirdest things and going from, like, the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. And so I called Kaylee in here and I was like, I think your dad is finally going through his midlife crisis. I need him to get a girlfriend. Leave me alone because I'm trying to sleep. But then, so he was like, you know what? I think I need to get out and start doing some stuff. So I was like, yes, please, like, do that. So you remember you planned the trip to the museum, and then he was like, I'm going to finally go see Wakanda Forever, because you saw it like a week after everybody else.
Right.
And had you remained unspoiled?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, like, I hadn't even considered that. Like, I just thought it's a Marvel movie. I forgot, like, the whole theme of this whole phase has been grief, basically. You know, so I didn't even think about that. I just thought, oh, great, he's going to go see superheroes and it's going to cheer him up, completely forgetting that, yes, you will sit there. If you have a soul, if you're human at all, if you're not a piece of shit, you see that movie, you're going to cry. And then, yes, of course, he was like, I shouldn't have. This is like the wrong movie to watch. It's like, oh my God. Oh. Anyway, what was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, about the pasta dish. One, okay. I am now hungry because John talked about all that food. Two,
I mean, listen, I didn't tell you all of it. I had a lot of good
I know,
shit.
I saw some on your Instagram. But two, I didn't eat as much as I guess I wanted to, or I could have. So the dish that I posted about, like, I've never even attempted to say it, What's it called? Say it again.
I mean, I just said it the way that I read it. It may be wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but I call it Casio Pepe.
Casio Pepe. Okay, that's what we're calling.
Casio e Pepe, I think is the name.
Casio e Pepe. Okay, so that's what we're gonna call it.
That's what we're calling it. And if anybody wants to correct me, fuck off.
Right. Like, no, we don't care. No, but seriously, that's fine. So what's today? Thursday, Wednesday. 3 days ago, maybe less, I saw that Casio e Pepe written somewhere. Now, what I think, my gut is telling me that it was a tweet and somebody had said something like someone either made it or every time I go to a certain place, I have to eat it or something. Like somebody like said it. Now, the more I'm saying it, I think it might be one of the reaction channels, the Core 4 Reacts TV, my boys. I think one of them might have said that about the Cheesecake Factory, maybe. I was like, anyway. So I was like, I didn't know what it was. So I went and Googled it. And then I was like, ooh, I like all of those things. I read butter and cheese and noodles. And black pepper.
Yeah, I mean, it means what, like cheese and pepper, right?
Okay, I'm going to take your word for it.
I think so. And so, like, that's not to interrupt you, but
right.
What I had was Casio Pepe with rigatoni. So it was rigatoni.
Mm-hmm.
The pasta that was in it was rigatoni, and the cheese was a cheese that I don't remember what it was.
I can maybe tell you in a second. So I looked it up, and I was like, ooh, yeah, all of that sounds good. And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to try to make that. So we don't have like a lot of like pots and stuff. So I should explain, like, our stuff still isn't here. Like the bulk of our stuff, like that stuff is on its way in a pot. So we still, Donnie came and brought as much as he could in the car. But for the most part, again, a lot of kitchen stuff. And I like stocked up. I used Instacart and I called and got some stuff from the Dollar General that's up the road. It's a really nice. First of all, did you guys know that the stuff is now $1.25? Did you guys know this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Like the Dollar Tree, I think, is the same way.
Yeah, I've heard that there's no such thing as a dollar store anymore. It's like, okay. But this one is really fucking nice from the outside. I didn't go in. I'm not crazy. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't want to be seen in there.
No, COVID. Okay, I'm not. I don't like going in places unless I absolutely have to. So anyway, just like little like things that I feel like the kid, like the first time you move out on your own and you take for granted things that you didn't think you would ever have to buy, like colanders and can openers, and so there was like little stuff that we got by on. And then Donnie got here and he brought stuff with us, like our air fryer. What else did you bring? A lot of like other the other Keurig, right? Because before that we were using like the little mini Keurig that
like a single serve.
Bought for my bedroom in our old place, and I packed that shit in my checked luggage because I was like, I am going to have coffee no matter what. But anyway, so I placed an order at the Dollar Tree and I got like stuff like that, like tongs and all that stuff. Well, there's a reason that stuff is $1.25. It was all like tiny, like Donnie called it like dollhouse furniture size.
That's why they call it Dollar General.
Yeah. So I decided that I was going to make it tonight. So I got the pasta I went with was fettuccine. Like the flat, kind of thick one, because I wanted something because I wasn't going to make like a meat with it, right? Because again, there was like it's cheese and pepper. So I got what I wanted, like a thick kind of heavy pasta. So I bought fettuccine And then the cheese, I'm going to have to look it up after I say all of this. It's like this kind of like a powdery, really finely, very finely grated cheese. I forget what it's called. It's a white cheese. It's made from sheep's milk. And so the recipe, if I recall, so I'm going to be very honest, okay? I cooked this after eating an edible, and this was just all vibes, okay? I read the recipe once a few days ago. I glanced it over earlier this evening to see what I needed to order with the groceries to make it. And then I glanced it over before I went in the kitchen, right? I took my iPad with me. I've watched a few cooking videos in my day. And that's it. So don't ask me about measurements or anything. So what I think the recipe had called for was, you make your pasta in one pot, and then in a pan, like a Dutch oven or a skillet. I ain't got no fucking Dutch oven, so I use a skillet. You saute butter and then that cheese, right? Or maybe it's just butter and pepper. And then when your noodles are done, you reserve like three-quarter cups of the pasta water, and you add that to the butter, and then you mix in the cheese, and then you add your pasta. And it's like more cheese and pepper, and it's a cheesy thing, right? Okay, so that's what they said to do. But then I was like, maybe we do want to have some meat. So I got this bright idea that I was going to do like a bacon-like meat, but not bacon. So what did I get, Donnie? Pancetta, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Pancetta. So I got that, and I got some diced pancetta. Well, wouldn't you know? So what I thought I was going to do, John, was make that in butter and pepper on the stove, and once that was cooked, remove it, and then the juices of that, instead of just plain butter, the juices of that I would do with the pasta water and the cheese and all of that, right? And then I could top it all with the little diced pancetta, right? But wouldn't you know, as I am sauteing or frying or whatever the fuck I was doing to this pancetta, the smell hit me. It is like that one, I think we talked about this, that one pork smell that I cannot tolerate because it smells like when my grandmother would make pig feet.
Uh-huh.
It has like that kind of porky smell. And I don't know what cut that is. I need to go back and look up what cut pancetta is because
probably feet.
Yeah, I need to like avoid that. And here's the thing. I got it. We ordered the stuff from Publix, and it came like in like one of those, like the containers, like I'm trying to think of what else like comes in containers like this. Like if you buy tofu, where it's like
pancetta is just cut from pork belly.
The smell. I couldn't fuck with the John. I couldn't. But anyway, it was like a plastic bowl bottom, and then like a vacuum sealed like plastic top, like a thin top. Mm-hmm. And it was already diced. And so when I put it in the pan, I didn't have to add shit. It started cooking, and it created like its own oil and juices, and it was just like popping and frying, and it looked amazing, but the smell, I couldn't. So Donnie,
it was very salty, but it's salt
so
cured.
Good
I don't know
I
if you
didn't.
seasoned it.
No, I didn't.
Because it's salt cured, but you wouldn't have it'd been way too salty for you.
Okay, so I was like, you know what, fuck this. So I cooked it some, and then I stopped and I cleaned out the pan, and I was like, I'm just gonna do the recipe, but I'm still gonna be extra because I'm me. Okay, so here's what I did. I heated the butter and pepper, and again, no measurements. Just took a little spatula from the dollar store. Just vibes. Just my little dollar store spatula. Just about the size of like my hand completely. And was just like a little dollop of butter, salt free. And then sprinkled like some pepper, and then added some heavy whipping cream. And then that cheese. And again, no measurements, just vibes, just sprinkle and vibes. And then like I'm stirring it, and temperature, I don't know, medium high. I think somewhere in there. Sprinkle in more cheese, and then I'm stirring. And then I decided to like think. Finally, I'm like, how long are you supposed to do this? Like, because I've only ever used heavy whipping cream to make homemade whipped cream. And so I know how to do that to get it to that consistency, like the whipping. But now I'm boiling it, like I'm cooking it, right? And I don't know the temperature, but it's cooking and it's bubbling. And I'm like, is there like a point where you should stop and it'll get like, you ever like boil milk? What are you laughing at?
Yeah.
You ever boil milk? You know how it gets like that film on the top, John? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I didn't want that to happen. So I took it into my head that I'm sure I've seen a video somewhere once upon a time that says you just got to keep stirring. So the whole time I'm standing there.
Oh, no.
I don't know. It was delicious. Okay. Long story short, I don't know if I wasn't supposed to. But, like, I kept stirring it, and I'd add a little bit more cheese, because I figured, like, if I wanted it to be...
I mean, you keep stirring it, you're going to get some cheese.
No, I wasn't churning. I was stirring with a little dollar store spatula. So then I called Donnie, and I was like, does this look thick to you? And he's, like, way across the kitchen. He was like, yeah. And I was like, I think he just called me fat. Because I was like, he can't see in this pan. Like, what does he think I asked him was thick? So I made him come over there, look into the pan. He was like, no, it looks good, it looks good. So then I got the pasta. Now, again, I told myself that I had saw somewhere that you shouldn't rinse your pasta. That's wrong, right? Right? Do you rinse your pasta?
I don't know if like you shouldn't. I don't know if there's. I mean, there might be people who are like, oh, you're washing off the good stuff. I don't know.
But it
I don't
cools
know
it down.
if it matters.
What you say, Donnie?
It cools it down, though. I wouldn't do that.
Okay, well, I didn't. I like I said, I poured. I reserved some of the water, and then I drained it.
Oh, you mean after you cook it?
Yeah, after you cook it.
Oh, well, no, I wouldn't rinse the pasta after I cook it.
Right, that makes cold pasta. It's like...
Listen, why are you laughing like that?
Because I've never heard of that before in my life.
I don't know. I was like, should I rinse it? So you're saying no. Okay. Well, good.
I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. But
so I didn't. And then I went to add the pasta to this like cream butter cheese pepper sauce that I got.
It sounds good.
But the pasta was like sticking together. So I like had to like, once I put it in the pan, use my little dollar store spatula to like break it up a bit. And because it was still, the heat was still going, it was cooking, it did that fairly easily.
Oh, you said it was fettuccine, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it sticks together.
So I hate that. So then at one point I stopped, and the rest that was in the colander, I rinsed it. And when I rinsed it, it was easier to like pull apart, and it pulled apart. And then I put it in the sauce. So then I let it like simmer for a bit in the sauce so it heated up again. Anyway, long story short, you guys, it was fucking amazing.
I mean, it sounds good.
Donnie, did you like it? He hasn't said anything. I don't know if he liked it.
I said it was really good. I said even the ham was good, which is real fun.
Mm-hmm. And then Kaylee's eating it, and I was like, oh, by the way, because I forgot this part, because again, I was winging it. Like I said, I glanced at that recipe, and I was like, I bought shaved Parmesan cheese. Mm-hmm. So I thought when you take it out and it's still hot, to like sprinkle just a bit of that on the top. But I forgot to do that. So.
Oh wow! Well, you can use that on other stuff.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make
salad that I got from the pizza place. That's the type of cheese that was on
it. So I'll probably make it again tomorrow. It was fairly simple. You know,
I mean, it sounds good. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. It was good.
Two other things that I had very quickly, because you reminded me, you're talking about pasta. Mm-hmm. I had a pasta called orecchione, which I only know because I looked it up before I ordered it. Because I was like, I don't know how the fuck to say this. But the reason it was interesting was because like it's named that because it's shaped like ears, and apparently like that is some similar to how you say ear in Italian.
Okay. I think I've heard that before. Okay.
It was good. It was nice. It was chewy like an ear. It was like it was like, hey, this is eerie stuff. The other thing is I had veggie grill again because I was like, I've been wanting it ever since I had it the last time I was out in LA. And it was good again. It was really good. They got good shit there. I wish they would open that here.
I wish they would do a lot of things here.
Yeah, like civil rights.
Exactly. Let's slow down, okay? Let's let this place catch up to like the 50s and the 60s and 70s first. I want to say this because otherwise I might forget, but I hesitate to say it because I feel like I know nothing I can say will do it justice, but I read a book and I just finished it. I was on the wait list for it for the library for weeks and weeks. But did we talk about this already, John? Maybe you've read it. Babel? Am I saying that right?
I don't think I've read it. Does it have anything to do with the movie? Or is it completely different?
It's different from the movie. So it's about this so the full title is first I'm going to say her name. RF, initials RF, and then I think Kwang. So Kuang. And the full title is Babel, or the Necessity of Violence, an Arcane History. And it is about this society of, well, in this reality, there's this thing you can do called silver working, where you can inscribe 2 words on like a bar of silver, and it then creates some sort of power that is manifested from whatever the words are. And so there's this need of people who are fluent in certain languages, but beyond that, you see what I'm saying?
That's why it's called Babel. That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yes. Beyond, beyond anything like I'm doing with learning Korean, but like being like born, living, breathing, thinking, dreaming in this language, and how the British Empire has basically colonized silver working and hoarded this, and are basically like stealing and buying children, and in some cases creating children in places like China.
Also, it's based in reality.
Yes, so that they could raise these kids to be proficient in this language and basically hoard. So like they would come up with like ways to so, and again, because it's like, you know, an alternate history, she was in the beginning of the book, she talks about how she actually did study at Oxford in her time there, and how she would change the dates of certain things so that it fit, you know, within her story. She also like accelerated the time in which I think certain train travel was available, because she's like, I needed to get my characters out of London quickly or something. So, and so at the end she goes, but at the end, please try to remember that you are in fact just reading a work of fiction. like relax. But it would be things like they would figure out how to create these like silver bars that made like trolleys run, right? But they purposely inscribed them so that they needed 2 words. So like they would come up with like ways to basically hoard. So like they would come up with like ways to basically work maintenance every 2 months instead of, every 2 years, which they could do with the magic or whatever it is that they were able to do, because of money. So it was just basically, it was like, it's really good. So like I said, I just finished it last night, and I feel like I should have like sat with it a little bit more. I've already said more than I wanted to, because maybe I didn't make it sound as good as it is, but I think it's really good and folks would enjoy it. So
no, it sounds like exactly the kind of fiction, because I'm not a big fiction reader anymore.
I know.
And so, but it does sound like the kind of fiction that I like, which is based in, nonfiction.
And the best part is, I thought, was like talking about, because what they were saying was, again, as somebody who's like studying another language, I posted like a bunch of like screenshots of just like passages that I thought were really good. But this idea that like, obviously like what's lost in translation. And so it would put, words that, it almost feels like a puzzle that you could play, like a game where it's like words from two different languages that mean two different things, but they're oh my God, what's the word I'm looking for? Etymology?
Yeah, the etymology, yeah.
It all, like those things, there's something in common in there, right? So that when you put those things, and what the silver working does is it captures those things, the things that are lost in the translation. I know I'm not explaining it right, but it was just like a wonderful way to look at language. And then of course, again, how white folks will
fuck it up.
Choose white supremacy over everything. And again, they're taking these children from their homelands and mining their homelands of these resources, and then trying to say, well, language isn't a resource. Obviously it is, Anyway,
right.
You should read it. I can't recommend it enough. It's a really good book. So, all right. Speaking of books, the show that we are finally going to talk about, Kindred, is based off of a novel by the same name by Octavia Butler. I should probably be shamed to say that I have not read any Octavia Butler. And for no special big reason. Let me back up. I feel like I must have, in all the time I've spent in school, read something, be it like a passage from something she wrote, or maybe an essay or something that she wrote, but I've not read any of her novels. But you can't exist as a writer, as a reader, as a black person, as a black woman, I think, and not have heard her name and heard of her works and been recommended. And I've had some of her books on my wish list for as long as I can remember. And I even started at one point reading the graphic novel that was made based off of this book, off the book Kindred. And I think might have even reviewed the first issue or two for the website back when we were doing that type of editorial stuff. So anyway, I just never really got around to her stuff. And then you guys know, for these past few months, I've been reading a lot. And I was going through, again, my wish list and stuff like that, just looking. I asked people online for suggestions. And then I would go in the library and request these books. And I came across this in a book called Dread Nation, which the author's name is escaping me. I might have brought it up a few months ago when we shot the shit about what I'd been reading. And I couldn't decide between the two, between Dread Nation and Kindred.
Justina Ireland.
Thank you. Say it again, Christina Ireland?
Justina,
thank you. I shared it in the group, the covers of both books, and I asked people, what they thought. And nobody had a negative thing to say about either of them, and they were both probably getting an equal amount of votes to read. But at least two people said about Kindred, they were like, the slavery stuff, like, it's rough. Like, it's rough. So I was like, oh, okay. I'm not in the mood for rough. I'll read this, post-Civil War zombies story instead. I can handle this, type of storytelling. So I decided not to read it. And then I knew the show was coming up. And I was like, you know what? I want to go in cold because I've been having, I think, a lot of good luck with, kind of going into shows as cold as possible. And so for this, all I knew was that it was based off a book by Octavia Butler. I'm pretty sure I read at least one or two issues of the graphic novel based off the book. I knew it had some harsh slavery in it. Mm-hmm. And I knew it involved time travel. Other than that, I didn't know anything. So my first question to you guys is, had you known anything about Octavia Butler prior to watching this?
I've heard the name.
John, have you read any Butler?
Yeah, I'll say no, I have not. And I'll say I think a big reason why is kind of like what you were talking about with Babel and the devaluing of language. And I think, like, when I was in school, like, you would think Octavia Butler would be like, oh, like, this is a person who you would be told about. No, like, not at all.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I am pretty sure I didn't even know until I was, like, well into adulthood.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, it seems like it is the kind of name that where language and the use of it and the writing of it valued outside of white voices, that maybe it would be someone that you would hear more about, like, throughout your childhood and things, like, I don't know.
No, and I hadn't. I am pretty sure how I first heard of her was probably something like, for a time when we lived in North Carolina, around the time Donnie and I met, maybe started dating, I had joined a couple of, like, Black women, like, book clubs. Nothing to the scale of Black Women's Free Library that our friend Ola founded, but I'm pretty sure it was, like, within those circles that it was like, you should read this, or have you read this, And so for as long as I can remember, I had Parable of the Sower, which is another one of her books that I think is a part of a series. Like, on my Amazon wish list, like, I have a private list of, like, books I want. And it's probably been for, like, 10 years to the point where I think I finally bought, like, the Kindle edition, but then I would just start reading other things. So anyway, I'm sorry, I cut you off. So no, you had not read her either.
No, I had not. I had not read her, and yeah, I didn't hear of and learn of her until, adulthood, like you said.
And what did you guys know about the show?
Just that the time travel.
Yeah, I saw the trailer. I watched the trailer, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like Journeyman. Y'all remember that show?
It's so funny you should say that because...
I said it because I was like, when you told me or showed me a trailer or whatever it was, I was like, doesn't that sound like that other movie that, who would I say, who was it?
Oh my God.
I can't remember her name.
I feel like, I can't remember who you said, but I think who you were thinking, was it Janelle Monáe?
Yes. And
it was that Antebellum show.
Yes.
Or movie, right? Which I heard is absolutely terrible. Like, I have not heard a single Black person have anything positive to say about that movie. So I was like, okay, I feel safe skipping that one. But, so with this, I think I did the thing where I knew I was going to watch it. So, like, I didn't even finish the trailer. Like, I didn't want to see too much, to the point where so much of this episode, like, stuff surprised me. So much surprised me. And not, like, in a bad way. Again, it was just, this is something I'm interested in. So why not go in as cold as possible, you know? So a lot of it, like the tone of it, the relationships, just a lot of it, which we'll talk about in detail, surprised me. So, but I forgot that I had sent you guys both the trailer, and they do show the time travel stuff pretty blatantly in the trailer, right? So what did you guys think of the episode then? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I really liked it. Like it's the pilot or the first episode or whatever is directed by Janisa Bravo. Who have y'all seen the movie Zola?
No, and you know what? It is. Oh, I'm sorry. Really quickly, you brought up Journeyman. So, speaking of which, we have been Amazon customers like for a bazillion years now, and I was going through Amazon Prime on the app on the TV, and I went to like my watch list, and it has like anything that I've ever purchased, and like I will never forget like our first. Like that first like kind of cheap flat screen TV, Donnie, that we had in the bedroom of our first house. Do you remember? Like Journeyman is the first show we watched on that TV, and it was set in San Francisco. And I'll never forget there was like this shot over the Golden Gate Bridge, and I remember
it looks so good.
It looks so good. Like
John, that was like a 720p too.
It was, my mind was blown, John. I was like, oh my God, this looks amazing.
I mean, jump into that from like, would you go from like a projection back TV or something? I mean, there you go. I mean, that is a step up.
Yeah, so anyway, I was going through that, and I was like, there was stuff in shows that we watched. Like, I used to watch so much network TV, you guys. Like, I bought like episodes of Bionic Woman. Do you remember that show on NBC for a while?
Yeah.
I have episodes of Chuck. I don't even watch shit like that anymore.
Chuck was good. Chuck was a good show.
Anyway.
Was it? Janisa Bravo directed the movie Zola, which is a fan-fucking-tastic movie.
I need to watch it. What I got distracted from saying it was on the screen, like available, like on Amazon, and I was thinking I need to check it out. Okay.
Yeah, it's it's such a. I'm not to get going too much of a tangent because especially I think I already said it when I watched it and I talked about it on the podcast, but it just the way that movie is built around the idea of it being from a Twitter thread, and like it just feels like with the sounds and the music and the way that Janisa Bravo films it, it's just really good. But to get back to this, I really like the way that she directed this episode. Like it was very she had very voyeuristic, detached. Like the camera is like the camera is sitting on a table and the conversation is happening in the corner of the screen between two characters.
There was this this kind of weird framing in the car at times when I was just like, okay, this is interesting. Like how they were choosing, because I didn't know who directed it, to show us this conversation.
Yeah, that's I just really it's choices. That's what I feel like when you see choices being made, and I feel like. I think this is the third thing that I've seen that she's directed. I think she also directed an episode of Atlanta. But that just really reminds me of Wakanda Forever, right? I just remember thinking how people are oh, directors who direct Marvel movies, they're just hired hands. They don't put any touch on any movies, and I'm like. That's so ridiculous, and you can watch Wakanda Forever, and it's so clearly a Ryan Coogler movie. But I just like when you can see the fingerprints of a director, and that you can see them in this episode. And I thought that I really like the chemistry between Dana and Kevin, and I like the way that like it feels like a very modern show, even though it's apparently set in 2016.
Yeah, I was very surprised when she said 2016. I was like, huh? Y'all was swiping left and right in 2016.
Right, I meant to look that up because like they're talking about like Uber and like and swiping, and I'm like, I think that was around in 2016, but it wasn't at like prominent. I don't think. But anyway,
and the actress who plays Dana,
mm-hmm.
Mallory Johnson,
right?
She looks so familiar.
Yeah.
Like, she has one of those faces where I'm like, oh, I've definitely seen her before. Like, and then what I told myself is I'm going to go to IMDb and be like, yep, she's so-and-so from so-and-so. Man, she's done like 3 things. This is one of them. I've not seen her before. Oh, she's so good.
Right.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Sorry.
No, it's like, no, she is really good. And I think, like, I'll be interested to see, because like oftentimes you'll see like the first episode of something and you're like, oh yeah, like I like the tone of this, I like the way it's shot, I like the way it feels, and then you're like, the next episode is directed by somebody else and you're like, wait, this is a different show. Because
I was going to ask you if it's the same director.
It's not. Because she's like an executive producer, so she's just like directing the first episode, and then other people are directing the rest of them.
Okay.
So like I'm interested to see that, and I'll say like my least favorite parts were definitely the parts in the past, and not because I didn't think it was good, but just like it's like you said, like it's heavy shit, and it's just like I would much rather just honestly just watch the stuff from 2016 and just watch.
And I was gonna say that's one of the things I was pleasantly surprised with, because like I said, I knew it involved some sort of time travel, and I now that I think about it, I actually think I did start the book, but when I tell you, like, if I read 3 or 4 pages, that's a lot. Because I remember thinking one thing that was different is that I don't remember if it's an interracial relationship in the book or not, but I definitely know it's like an already established living together relationship. So the fact that this was like a almost hookup, like, type thing, I was like, okay, that's, different. But I really thought it was going to be, she's going to like go back to the past and then be stuck there, and it's all going to be about like trying to get home. And I just really wasn't interested in that. Like, like I didn't want to spend that much time in slavery.
Right.
So I'm glad that so far it doesn't seem to be that.
I feel like,
yes, but I agree. The parts going back to like 1815?
Yeah, like 1860, so it was 200 years.
Yeah, that was like my least favorite of all. Like, it just, the anxiety I felt watching it wasn't good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just knew I wasn't going to see anything good here.
Right, because like nothing good is going to happen.
Yeah, nothing good is happening here.
And I honestly, like, I do feel like the amount of time we spend in the past is going to increase as the show goes.
I figure just, yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I did like that, like her mom's in the past. Like that was an interesting part of it, where I was like, oh yeah, that made sense. Like that's the like. Obviously, like the accidentally time traveling or unintentionally time traveling part is sci-fi, right? But like I felt like for some reason, like her mom also being there made it more sci-fi. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
More like,
because it felt like a family thing, like a genetics.
Yeah, like it's not just like, oh, this one thing happened. It's like, oh, there's a history of this happening. And like, her parents, one of them disappeared, and presumably when she disappeared, that caused whatever accident that killed her dad. Like, so like, that's, that It's to say that's interesting, to say that part and then go, that's interesting. But it is.
Yeah. I get you.
But
okay.
so like that made it more interesting was when her mom showed up. When it was like, oh yeah, her mom's there, so now that's going to give her an attachment to that, where it's not just her being thrown out of time with nothing.
Right.
Like she's got something there.
Yeah.
I did think it was funny. She kept saving this racist little boy. I was like, you could just let him die one time. Like, it doesn't matter.
He was like, thanks, nigger. She was like, what did you just say? What did you just call me? I was like, what are we doing? You need to let little Rufus drown next time.
Yeah, go back
he
and let him
his life
on his stomach.
twice.
Shoot, and I really don't need us. We're going to find out Kevin is like a Rufus descendant, aren't we?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, he is. But, like...
No, wait, is he really?
No, I don't know. I was just saying.
I was like, did I miss something? Because I'm just being an asshole. Oh, my God. What about you, Donnie? What did you think?
I really like the writing of the show. There's some stuff that I just felt like was smart, like you guys said, with her mother being there. The others having the boyfriend find out right away that that she's not crazy. Like I like that because a lot of shows will have you go episode after episode and they're about to commit you and all this shit. So
except now I feel like they're gonna think he's just abusing her.
Yeah, because those fucking stupid ass nosy ass neighbors.
Yeah, those Karens.
Those were. And that's another thing I was gonna say. Like, I love that I was shocked that it was 2016 because this felt like such now behavior.
Yeah.
But also, white people have been terrible since the beginning of time. So, but it's like it just felt so timely. Like, you know, like this type of shit feels like it's happening every day now. So again, when it was 2016, I was like, really? Anyway, go ahead.
I really liked the other thing I really liked was the meeting of the boyfriend at the bar and then going through the whole Uber conversation. I just thought it was smart. Like, I've never seen that where he goes out there and tells everybody, hey, this is who I am. I'm with her in case she goes missing. Like, I
don't know, because also it's like that is also the audacity of a white man, though. Like, he could be like, I'm gonna do this and I'm still gonna murder her. And I'm gonna get away with it. See? I was like,
It was so funny because, like, when she got there and then the camera, like, focused on him for a minute when he, like, pulled her chair out or whatever, I was like, why the fuck do we care about this server? And then he came back to the table and the camera looked at him again. I was like, what the fuck are we doing?
I thought they already knew each other. Because I knew that she was... No, they didn't. But that's what I'm saying. Because they kept... The way... The focusing that you just mentioned, when I noticed that, I was like, oh, this must be the boyfriend. And I just couldn't figure out how she arranged this meeting at his restaurant. You know, this meeting that she had clearly forgotten about. Because I know from the book or the comic book that it was already like a relationship. I just thought, but when it turned out like she clearly didn't know him, I was like, oh. And then I just have interesting notes about this whole thing. But anyway, okay.
I like that it, like Donnie said, like the whole the introduction when you find out that, oh yeah, this is the guy that she's gonna like go on a date with or whatever. It was like, oh, okay, now I get why the camera looked at him.
Were you done, Donnie? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it. I just like the writing on that stuff.
All right, well, let's talk about it. Because I liked it too, and I'm sure I will have more details when we talk about the actual scenes. So when she wakes up, calling for Kevin.
Yeah.
And I was, again, knowing from what I read that she lives with her boyfriend, I was like, oh, this is her boyfriend. So again, imagine my surprise when at the restaurant, he's like, hi, I'm Kevin.
Oh,
and they had said 2 days ago.
Yes.
John, I was like, oh, this is different.
And they went fast.
Yeah, not wrong with that. But I'm just saying, I was like, okay, this is already different from what I thought I knew about this story. So anyway, Yeah, she wakes up, and it was like, again, if you went into this super cold, like, and didn't know anything about the plot, you're maybe are not sure what you're looking at, but knowing the plot, I was like, holy hell, she's been whipped.
Yes.
Right? And so she then starts, she's calling out for Kevin, there's no answer, and she starts gathering stuff and changes her clothes and gets into a tub of water while, like, making sure her hand is wrapped around the bag with the stuff in it. So I thought, was she trying to go back? And was this her trying to go back with whatever the stuff was in the bag?
I feel
No,
like...
go ahead, John. No, go ahead.
The way that I feel like it is, like, watching it cold the first time, I didn't know what she was doing. Like, obviously she was getting in the bath and blood, and the water was bloody and all that. But then, now having seen the episode, what I think she was doing was she was just getting stuff together to hold in her hand just in case she jumps back.
That's what I mean. Like, she would have that stuff with her.
Yeah. I don't think she was trying, like, to force herself to go back. I think she was just being prepared.
Exactly.
Right. Because she made the decision not to put that Glock in there.
She had a gun in there by her Heinz mustard.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want the chance that those white people back then getting that. So.
Right, that technology.
Let them load their fucking
muskets. And then she has, like, her phone, and I see why later. I didn't really notice it. Like, her phone is like sis, she drops $7,450 on a bed. If you don't take care of that phone, sis, like, it feels like either she's like me and she forgets to charge it, or it's so, like, it doesn't hold a charge. Like, it felt like because I thought she, like, plugged it up after she woke up, and then she went to it later and it was still dead. Like, when the cops were there outside. No?
I just felt like it. No, I felt like it was she just never charged her phone.
And then why does she have... I'm sorry, I'm just thinking out loud now, because, again, I watched this today. I haven't thought about this beyond watching it, now talking with y'all. Why does she not have internet? Because she comes...
Because she just moved there, right? What do you mean?
Listen, when I tell you...
That was the first thing Nita did.
Every place I have ever moved, and I have lived in how many cities, states now? We figure it was like something like 8 different cities across 6 or so different states. Listen, tell me when I'm going to be there, and that's when my internet dude's going to be there. That is the first thing I get put on. Like, nowadays, like, how does that even happen? Like, she's like, I have to use my hotspot. I was like, your phone is like an iPhone 2. What are you talking about? My hotspot. I don't know. Okay, I guess. But also, like, do you guys not feel like, I don't know, I guess by the end, when, I'm jumping ahead, but at this point in the story, or starting here, like ruminating on it, and then the stuff that comes a little bit later, it did feel like they were setting her up to be an unreliable narrator. And so when the cops show up and she doesn't have internet and she won't let them in, and you're just like, what happened? And so then as you start seeing stuff kind of unravel, you're wondering how much you can trust. You know, like, her aunt doesn't trust her choices. You're like, is there a reason for that? You know? And then you learn about the possible mother mental health, right?
Right, and then you're like, well, she,
Right.
her mental health was fine, but
Right. Now, exactly. Okay. So then she goes to dinner, and Uncle Alan, he don't see it for Dana. Like, why is he so rude? Like, he's so really like, he just don't like her. And he, like, to the point where when she announces that she sold the house, so apparently her grandmother, so this is her maternal aunt, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And her aunt's husband. And their grandmother passed away and left the house to Dana.
Correct.
It was a brownstone in New York. And she recently sold it. And we don't get like an exact number, but I think it's the aunt who floats that it was worth at least $2 million.
yeah, it was the uncle because he was pissed because he was like, "That's a $2 million house. We gotta find out how much he got."
Mm-hmm.
I think it was.
And we know that what she says is that she got enough for it and that it was enough for her to buy the house that she's in and then have money left over that she is apparently going to live off of until she finds a job. And they're both clearly like, what?
Yeah.
I'm looking at my notes and I have, who is this waiter?
Right?
And then that's when I wrote, oh my God, this nigga is Kevin. Because I was like, this the guy she was calling for 2 days later? You went home with him? And then I have in my notes, would I fall for this game? I don't think I would have. I don't know if I would have got my ass in that car. Mm-mm.
I don't know, like
I thought it was smart.
Johnny's like, I'm gonna fall for it.
Donnie's like a man. It's like the bare minimum. He's like, yeah, works for me.
I'm gonna use that.
I'm gonna use that.
He's just gonna be in a restaurant like, I'm your coworker, Donald.
And then then they leave, and then everybody in the restaurant's like, "Who the fuck was that guy?"
it's like Olive Garden.
It's like nobody ever acknowledged Kevin.
No. Now you got me scared. Because they really didn't. They were just like, oh, there's that crazy unhoused guy again, just in here causing trouble.
Yeah, that guy that we let come in here and work for free every once in a while.
That sounds about America.
And hey, nobody wants to work, but this guy does.
And then they call the cops when he has to get paid.
I think Dana seems very impulsive.
Yes.
As someone who doesn't really think things through a lot, which I think also explains the internet, right? Mm-hmm. And so not charging her phone, etc. So I think she absolutely would get in the truck. It makes sense to me that this character, as we know her, got in that truck. Even if I don't think it was a smart thing to do.
Yeah, it just feels like they are setting her up. I guess not to say an unreliable. Well, again, talking about it at this point, when we didn't know what was to come, at the very least, I wondered if this was going to be like an unreliable narrator type thing where is she really going? So that's why I was shocked when it turns out that he saw it happen. I was like, oh, that's good.
Right. Yeah.
That's good. That moves that along. But definitely at this point, it feels like what they're telling you is that she does make like questionable, impulsive life decisions. Mm-hmm. And the house was nice. Like it's not like it looked like it was like she got, I don't know how much she paid, but
she didn't even know where she lived. Like she didn't even know what neighborhood she was in.
I took that as, you know what I took that as? I took that as that kind of Los Angeles thing where...
Really?
Yeah, I really took it as them just being like, of him saying, the joke is like, you think you're, like, this is where you live. Like someone saying, this probably doesn't apply anymore because of all the gentrification. But like, if you're trying to get like cred, and you're like, I'm from like Brooklyn, but then you name like this really tame part of Brooklyn. Do you know what I mean? Like, it felt like it was one of those where she was sold a property and it was like, yeah, this is like Lakeview, and it's really like Lakeview adjacent. I don't know. Yeah. That's how I took it. But maybe she is stupid. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if she like. Listen, I don't think she's stupid. I just think like,
because how do you not know the name of your neighborhood or your city?
Right. I think it's like she's that's gullible. Like, yeah. I think like it's learning more about her and like when she has the fight later with her aunt, and like she's like, I was alone in this house all this time, like, you know, like, the emotions that it feels like were behind her impulsive decisions, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like it doesn't feel like she's like irresponsible or like, you know, like making bad decisions for bad reasons. It feels like she made impulsive decisions for reasons that, you know, are like, you know, emotional, like things. So like the idea.
I'm just saying she got mayonnaise and a gun in the fridge. It's been 2 days. I don't know what's going on. I'm curious. I'm curious to see where they're going with this, because even her like being in the house alone, like, what was that about?
You mean in the beginning of the episode?
No, when she says that, when she was alone in the house in New York.
Oh, right.
Like, all the family she was the only family that she had. So she didn't have a relationship there yet.
So she's basically saying, like, after the grandmother died.
Yeah, it was just her in the house all by herself.
Yeah, it's like when her parents died, she probably like introverted and you know, has just been living with her grandmother for 20 years or whatever. So
when he drops her off and she's like, yeah, you can totally like go through those albums and take whatever you want. And then she goes inside and they cut to her looking at him from inside. It really felt like at least an hour had passed. Like the lighting in that scene, I was like, how long was he out there?
I mean, listen, you start looking at stuff, and time goes by.
No, that's creepy. I was like, nigga, how long are you going to be squatting there looking through them crates?
He's like, man job.
And then he was only naming like out like black artists. I was like, you ain't slick.
Face Jones.
He took them all. It's not like he picked through what to see. Like, he took them all anyway, so it was weird.
It's creeper. It's giving creeper. I don't quite trust him yet. And I can't tell if we're supposed to like, because I will say this. Everybody so far feels like real people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the casting on this, like so far, and maybe it's because it's like people that I'm not very familiar with. Like I haven't seen their work, so they're totally new to me. But it just feels like these are like real folks. And as such, I don't know if that's what they're going for. Like he's just a regular, harmless waiter who plays in a few bands, and we're supposed to just be like, and then the fact that he's let in on her secrets so early, if he's just like, or if he's absolutely a serial killer. I tell.
I felt like he did. I was on his side, right? Like I felt like, oh, this is a decent guy, and they're making him
until
he's like, hey, you're rich, right? He's like, wait, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry, he lost me before that. I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't. Well, maybe I don't know.
When he was like, I give all types of rides, I was like, Jesus Christ.
That was creepy.
Come on.
He might as well take the picture of his dick. Listen, John, don't be doing that on Tinder. Don't be.
Oh, I don't think I get messages on Tinder, but yeah.
Don't be offering no rides in 3 exchanges, like 3 sentences, and you're talking about mustache rides and shit. No,
like that was because I'm glad you mentioned that, because that part was like, okay, that was a misstep. But like everything else seems like, oh yeah, he was just, he was trying to make a joke and he fucked up. But then he gets to the thing where he says the money thing, and now I'm like, I don't know, like there's something there.
And then they do that thing where like when she had the fight with her aunt called her princess, and you get that that's like a sore spot. So then when later he does it, it's like, I don't know if it's the writing, like, but it did feel like a weird thing for him to say.
Yes.
Based on when he then says why he said it. Like, it didn't match that, like, oh, I just watched you blow a few grand on stuff. And it's like, princess, though, that implies so much more than just like she's a woman that has like is good with her money or maybe came into like whatever. It just felt off, and I can't tell if again I'm reading too much into stuff or if it's just bad writing because they needed to figure out a way for him to say that so that we understand that's a trigger for her and then to trigger her kicking him out.
Right. Yeah, I don't know either. Because, like, for me, it absolutely was like, oh, there's something about this guy that he's not as great as he seemed. But, like you said, if it may be just writing, there's something where it's like he's not actually, like, a bad guy. Like, that wasn't meant to be something that indicates anything about him, and it's all about her. But, and like, because it does play like it's about him.
And then because, and to that point, again, they're still treating her like she might be crazy. Like there might, like maybe it is innocent and she's just fucking paranoid because she's like, get out. And it's like, whoa, how we get here,
Right.
So.
I just want to know where the fuck you get a $7,000 mattress from. And what that feels like.
Los Angeles.
Like, is that just goose feathers? Like, what is it filled with?
Well, like, we all know that those are just fucking money laundering spots.
I don't know. These Casper mattresses are fucking comfortable as hell. And that shit's like $800.
That mattress is filled with black tar heroin. She got way more than a mattress. So then she has the next, I don't even know what we want to call it, where she is in this room where a woman is putting a baby down. And the first thing I said when she walked up to that baby, I was like, why is that baby on his stomach?
Like, what the fuck?
I was like, don't they know back then to not do that?
No, this is before they learned.
I was like, Jesus, I thought that's something we've known for a minute, no? Well, I guess with SIDS, I guess not. But I think that was a big, one of the, and I don't know, information may have changed. So please don't be taking any kind of advice from me. My baby days are over. But I thought that was one of the, because they couldn't really pinpoint what causes it. One of the things was to cut back is not putting babies to sleep on their stomachs. The idea that they can't fully, if they started choking and couldn't breathe, they cannot lift and turn their heads fully.
Yeah, I feel like they wasn't there like a study or whatever that found the cause of SIDS like last year?
I was going to say, I felt like there was something more recent, but again, I don't know for sure, so I don't want to, like, you guys can do your own Googles. The point is, she sees this woman back in the 1800s putting this baby to sleep on the stomach, and there was just something so creepy, something so Ryan Murphy about it, that I was like, did she do that on purpose? Like, was she trying to, like, harm this baby, or they just legit just didn't know better back then? So the two women, I was surprised that this black woman was so lippy to this white woman. But then I realized, I was like, oh, like, absolutely, these women know these white children better than their mothers do. And knows what's best. And this woman clearly seemed to be going through it. And this is Rufus when he was a baby, right? This is like we're going throughout Rufus's life at the time.
Because later he's like, you saved me when I was a baby. And I'm like, how the fuck do you remember that?
There ain't nothing else to remember that.
And also, what the fuck did you just call me? So yeah, it's now, this was interesting because I could not tell what they could see. When they were like, who is that? It kind of played like there was still room for it to be, oh yeah, they didn't see Dana as we see Dana.
Yeah, I thought that's how I thought it was going to go.
Right? Because it felt like for her to be like, but then when she said, who are you? And she said her name, the way she repeated the name back to her, it felt like, oh no, she knows Dana. But now it makes sense because we find out later that the last time she saw her, she was a kid. And we see that Dana apparently bears a striking resemblance to, what's her name, Hagar?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, yeah, when the auntie comes over, this is where we learn about there being some mental health issues with the mother. And then they have their fight. And it got nasty so fast, but only in a way that arguing with family can. Because you're just always like one smart fucking remark away from every bit of ammunition you have.
Yes. This felt so real. And I was
Yes.
like, there is lots of history here.
Mm-hmm. But auntie takes it because she was like, and take a shower.
Yeah.
There's no coming back from that. Like, go wash your ass. But yeah, like, I don't, like, what is up with that? Like, why, you still think it's just, she was just being kind of, like, impulsive with this purchase and hadn't really planned anything because she didn't have anything in that house, really.
Yeah, it feels weird that she didn't tell anyone that she was doing this. That's the one part of it where I'm like, why would you not just say something?
Because I can say it could be one of those things where it's like she knows that they would just disagree and try to talk her out of it. Right. So it's like, I don't want the fight. I'm going to do it anyway, so I might as well just do it. Right.
It's one of those things where it's like that absolutely would make sense. And then she's able to say, well, you told me you wanted me here. Like,
right, which is what she did.
Right.
Yeah.
So she doesn't even give them the chance to say it.
Yeah, and I felt like she wasn't that close to her aunt and her uncle. Even when they first run into her and she's like, well, I didn't out here. It just seems like they haven't talked. They don't talk very often.
Because she even apologizes, right? She's like, I'm sorry. I know, like, I left you alone. And
so in that sense, if they're not that close, then there's no reason she should tell her.
And I absolutely, like, I do think there's something to the house and, like, the fact that she sold her mother's house and then, like she says, oh, I was part of the decision to leave you that house, but, like, not with the idea that you would sell it and then I wouldn't get any of that money. I do think there's something to that, especially if you take, like, what would have to be the uncle is also, like, he's clearly more interested in the house and the money that they didn't get from the house. So he has to be like, hey, I'm upset about that. And then she's having to hear that from him. So then she goes and talks to Dana.
It's just really shitty to me that, yeah, you're probably right. And it's just really shitty to me that she would be, because if you are in on the decision to leave her the house, basically making it seem like you, not only like you were in on it, but like you had some sway. Like if I, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like if I wanted to make a stink, you know? But you do that with the understanding that it's now her house to do with what she wants. If you thought that at any point she would want to sell that house, that you were entitled to or wanted any portion of the sales, then when you were making that decision, that was the time to say something. you put that in writing, right? Like, that's the time to say, okay, yeah, that's fine. But if she decides to sell it, I want to be involved in that process somehow, or whatever. But, like, you don't do that, and then she sells it, and to be upset, if you're correct, and you probably are, to be upset, like, the fact that you thought you were entitled to any of that money. I really do hope it's more for her, because fuck the husband, but at least for her own aunt. I would really hope that it's more that she is just kind of irresponsible, and that she didn't want to see any of the money, but she damn sure didn't want her to, like, you know, buy this house that she saw it on the internet. She was like, that, you know, like, and then she's secretive about the sale, like what she got and then what this cost, so you don't know how much is left over. I would be a little shitty, not because I don't have the money, but because, like, I guess I could have had the money, like, if you were going to do all of that, you know. I don't know.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like,
I hope they just don't hold that over her head, because that's shitty.
Yeah, I mean, and, like, if, like, you're an aunt, right, and you have this person in your life, your niece, like, you want, presumably, like, you don't want to see her go and, you know, sell this house and then blow all the money and then have nothing.
Right.
Like, you want her to, you know, be, you know, successful.
That's what I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping it's not about the money. Like, they want the money.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so she goes on this date with Kevin, which I guess. I mean, I guess. I was just like, I don't know. I was just like, I was trying to figure out, like, again, like, putting myself in her position, having been in her position. I was like, I don't know. When I was, like, in my 20s, like, would this have worked on me? Like, this whole thing, him spitting this game, like, I was just, I don't know, I was just disappointed that it worked.
I mean, Donnie, what did work? Like, that's the question that everybody has.
He didn't even try.
Would this have worked? And you're well, here's Donnie right here.
Well, that's the thing, because he didn't even try. Maybe that's it. This guy, like, was trying too hard. Like, let's go start the orphan club. Like, let's not joke about our dead parents. Thank you fucking very much. Like, and then, like, but also, like, okay, I'm just gonna say it, because I like the actress, but oh my god, sometimes Dana was getting on my nerves, because I'm like, sis, why are you buying a $7,000 fucking bed? Like, exactly. Who needs a $7,000 bed? Nobody. Like, nobody. When you were like, I wonder what that feels like, it feels like the bed you're sleeping on, probably.
It feels like a mistake.
Right? Like, what are we doing? Especially, like, now, like, when I learned that you're supposed to, like, when you're poor, you either know these things and just can't do anything about it, or you just don't know these things about, like, how often you're supposed to, like, change your mattresses. But, like, I'm such a huge fan of these mattresses from, where'd we get them? The foam ones.
Oh, we got them.
Costco.
They're the, I said earlier, Casper.
Right. Like, I'm like, okay, I can do that. I can drop a few, like, up to, what was the most expensive one? Was it $600?
Yeah, $600. Now it's a queen.
For, like, I can do that every few years. Like, why are you dropping, like, how long does that mattress last? Like, that needs to be for the rest of your life.
The
right?
rest of my life. Yeah.
And your kids' life.
John's like, I don't know how long it's supposed to last. I'll tell you how long it's gonna last.
This is our generational mattress.
Your ancestral
Your grandmother had sex on this bed.
Everybody's gonna have sex on that bed.
It's like, whether you want it or not. Right? This is the bed you sleep in. Like, this is all of us. This is gonna be like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We're all sleeping on this.
This is the golden ticket.
Oh my god. So, like, when she does that, when she's, like, bouncing on this bed, and at first, like, I thought, is this trying to like be like, is this about to be sexual because of like the way she was leaning over? I was like, what is happening here? And when she got the price and she was like, I'll take it, I was just like, your aunt was right. Like, what's wrong?
But I felt because this was after the conversation with the aunt, so I think this was kind of like being petty to the aunt.
And it makes her feel, to me, I was like, oh, you're just a mess. Like, you're immature. And it was just, I don't know, it was just frustrating.
Yeah. And it's like if that were me and I were in some mattress store, and I would be like, oh yeah, how much is this mattress? And they're like $7,000. I'm like, holy shit, let me get off of this.
I'm on the rock floor.
Like, why are you letting me sit on this?
I'd be like, holy crap, I farted on that mattress. Like, you can't even afford to fart on those mattresses.
It's like, I didn't touch that. You can't prove it.
I don't know. Like, another thing, like, for me, I would not even be attracted to the fact that someone could afford to spend $7,500 on
that means nothing. Like, what would attract me about that is that, oh, I could pay rent.
Right.
Like, if we were together. Like that.
Right?
That's the only thing.
I was like, oh, this is somebody that can absolutely afford some rent. But like, but you're choosing, the other thing is, though, but they're choosing to spend this money on a sofa, so on a bed, so can they afford rent? Like, are they just really bad with money? Like, nothing, like, and it was so performative, like, to ask so openly and be like, I'll take it. Like, I'm just saying, no, this would not impress me at all in a person, but definitely not, like, as a romantic partner. I'd just be like, okay, whatever, you're fucking seven. Like, no. Mm-mm.
That's another thing about Kevin and the fact that like later when he talks about it, he's like, "Hey, I noticed," and it's like, "All right, well, that's okay."
So like, yeah, what am I going to even do with the information that you notice? Like, you wanted me to notice that you noticed. It's just so weird and immature, and this is why I'm married.
This is why I'm single.
Right? It's just a mess. It's just a mess out there. It's just a mess. So then they watch Dynasty after they have sex, I guess. This was amazing because I loved me some Dynasty. Donnie, do you remember when we saw Diane Carroll at Mandy's restaurant?
Yep.
I was about to say before she died, obviously before she died. God.
That
weird. So then, while he's sleeping inside her house, she finds like a cat at her back door and she lets it in. And I was just like, again, I'm like,
why?
This feels fake. I was like, because who does this? I was like, this feels like something white people do. But I was like, we do this? I didn't know we do this.
Like, not only did she open the door, pick the cat up, she starts fucking kissing it.
And then turns her back and leaves the door open.
Yeah.
And I was like, where do you think Lakeview is? It's still in America, right? Like, sis, that's like, she makes questionable life choices. And I was like, I don't know that you're supposed to do this. But then again, like, I get those Ring door updates. These motherfuckers over here, they don't watch their pets. And there's so many lost pets post, but then there's just as many people being like, we found this guy hanging around. It's like, we brought him inside, he's friendly. I'm like, why are y'all bringing it? What are we doing? I'm sorry, I didn't know I had that rant in me. I apologize. But yeah, I was not up with her bringing this cat into her house, because I was like, this is how it happens when people are like, oh, I guess we have a cat now. That's on you.
Yeah, she's kind of living like she doesn't want, like she's like, if I die, I die. It's fine.
All right, so she doesn't want to, exactly.
Yeah, like, she's just like, fuck it. Like, I don't need this money. I just buy a $7,000 mattress because who gives a shit?
And that's why at this point I still thought that she may have some issues. That this may be,
she has some issues.
Like, but you get what I mean? Like, this isn't really happening. Like, we're, because again, there's a part of me, like, I'm not familiar with Octavia P. Butler's work, but, I got a question. I trust people who say that the book is really good, that her work is really good. But why are we going back to slavery? Like, what? I'm curious to see what the point is. And I am encouraged by the fact that it's written by a Black woman, and that, again, that so many other Black folks recommend her work. But yeah, I'm like, why are we going back to slavery? Hopefully this shit is just all in her head, because she wants to be a TV writer, right? So I'm still thinking, but then when he saw her disappear, I was like, never mind.
You know what I would do? I would take the gun.
Me too.
I would take the gun. I would take something and leave it, and then just see if I can find it. I just see, like, am I really going into the past? Is this really happening?
Okay, you just made it really weird. I was like, you weirdo. You're like geocaching.
But I mean, like, if I were like, am I crazy or is this real? Like, that's one way.
Oh,
like,
okay. I'm sorry. I was thinking, like, we're on the page of, like, because when she went to look for the gun, it felt like she knew that this is some shit that happens and I want to take these supplies with me. I was saying I would take the gun and kill a bunch of racist white folks.
Yes, absolutely.
And then when you said leave stuff, I was like, yes, I would arm the revolution. And then you were like, I would go geocaching, and you lost me. you whited it up, John.
You know, it's like Pokemon Go, you know. Like, take my phone and go look, you know.
I was like, I would free some slaves, and you were like, I would do something else.
I would go hiking.
Oh my god. Anyway, go ahead.
But
sorry.
Absolutely. I would. You take the guns, shoot some people who need to be shot.
It
give
would
some
be
other
that
people who need to do some shooting, and then like maybe the future is fucking better.
It would be that Dave Chappelle skit.
Shit.
the pimps, the time traveling.
Yeah.
Ones.
Right.
Take it back and say, yeah.
The Dave Chappelle shit is what he's doing now.
That's now, right? Yes. So when she freaks out from going, she sees Rufus again, right? Mm-hmm. The little boy, and she saves him from drowning. I think it is, right? Yeah. And she starts, when she comes back, she had been freaking out and screaming. That brings over her nosy white neighbors. And this is what I loved and hated about this, was like how real this felt. Like when that woman was like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Bitch, you rang my bell."
Yeah, who are you?
Like the way, especially because like he asked her a question or he said something, and her response was to completely disregard what he said and ask him, "Who are you?" with such authority. I was like, white people, man, like, holy shit, this is so real. And then the fact that Dana was so like, "I'm sorry," and he was like, "Well, you know, this is a quiet neighborhood with kids." Fuck your kids. Like they came over like they were concerned,
and they didn't even know her, because when he's like,
No.
do you know Dana? And they're like, "No, we've never met." Like, what the fuck?
But also that felt a little barbarian. Tony, did you watch that with me?
I watched it.
Oh, right. And then I watched it in the group chat after. Right. Where it's just like, I don't know. Anyway, I won't spoil it for John, even though I know John will probably never watch it. Anyway, so yeah, this is when he calls her princess. She loses her shit. She kicks him out. But then as they're arguing, or he's trying to apologize for what he said, she is transported again, or it is transported to her, where it's like she is in, where they are is on fire. And she screams for him, and when he turns around, he sees her disappear. I was like, oh, this show just elevated.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was so much better than him just not believing her.
So she goes back to slavery, wherever this is. And Rufus
she's
is like,
picks this kid up.
I was like, will you leave these white people alone? And then Rufus was like, thank you, N-word. And I was like, oh my God.
It was
Hey, I know you, negress. And I'm like, what are we doing?
And then he's like, she has a chance to save his life again after that. And she's like, nah. Like, this guy's gonna kill me. And she's like, I don't give a shit. And see ya.
Bye. That's your daddy. So then this man, I think his name, is it Luke?
I have no clue.
I think his name is Luke. He stops her when she's running off. And so it's been like a thing where, his name is Luke, where the times that she has appeared there, like throughout, over, for her, it's been like this short period of time, or a short span of time, like, right? Like, it feels like this has just been happening since she moved into the house, right?
Right.
Yeah, for a minute I thought it might be like a house thing, like
right,
into his house. Do you remember that?
But then you have the thing with her mom. So at the end,
right?
So right. But so for her, this has just been happening over the course of a few days. But for them, it's been spanning years. So there's been almost like this legend of Dana in the woods.
Do you know Dana?
He was like, are you an angel or are you with the crackers? No, I'm sorry. Are you with the devils? She's like, I don't even know, because I got this one waiting for me back at home. I swear I don't know how she fell for this line. I still think he the feds. I don't trust him. I do not trust this white man. But anyway. So he gives her directions that would have gotten me killed. Jesus fucking Christ, Luke. He's like, go to the mapleberry tree, hook a left at the I was like, what?
If you see the Walmart, you went too far.
I would have just been a slave, okay? It would have been slavery for me because I could not follow the shit that he said. Ugh.
You gotta have map quests.
So then Daniel...
she's following the directions and suddenly she's in Iowa.
She's like... I thought I heard... Oh, that was Idaho. My bad. So then Daniel is like this old nasty white dude that's like on like patrol. And he sees Dana, but he calls her Hagar. And it's like... So like there was one point where the father, who I'm assuming that's Rufus's dad... Or wait.
That one that was the
or is it Daniel? But somebody called her a boy once. And so I remember thinking, does she just look different to the people in the past who can see her? Like, again, because I wasn't sure what the woman who turned out to be her mom and the white woman saw when they were like, who is that? And it wasn't even clear, like, do they just see a silhouette? So I wasn't sure what people were seeing. And or even like if everyone could see her, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So here, when he's calling her Hagar, like it played like he got a good look at her and still called her Hagar. So I was like, wow, okay, is there somebody in the past, like an identical twin type thing? But we see later, it's just that I'm assuming that's her sister, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what I assumed. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
then
he's
that
so
guy
nasty.
is a racist.
Yes, he's so nasty. He was like, "Oh, that's a nice dress you got there." It was like a Walmart robe. I was like, "Nigga, if you don't take your nasty ass home." But anyway, yes, it turns out he's just racist. He was like, "Black women they all look alike."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then she goes to the house, right? And it's at this point we've been here too long. Because I'm like, this is way more slavery than I wanted.
Because it's like the it's so tense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like
she's walking through those woods like she's walking through a dog park at night in her subdivision, and I was like, no, sis.
Right. And we've got to get back to 2 days from now or whatever.
Right.
When she just came back.
Right, and I'm pretty sure she gets whipped.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't. What do we got?
Can we please leave here? So yeah, she runs into a woman. At this point, I was just like, is this her mama? We later find out it is, and it turns out it's the year 1815. That's what I have written here, but you said 1816.
I absolutely could have heard wrong. I just assumed it was 16 because, I just assumed it was 200
16.
years.
Okay.
But I could be completely wrong.
But, and then I have here, in parentheses, 11 to 12 years. So the mother said she's been there for going on 12 years.
Right.
She's been living, so she's been there since about
1798 or so, right? Right?
18,
no, you said 11 years. You said
1803.
11 years. 1805.
Yeah. Yeah, 1804 or something like that. Yeah. So around.
She's like 38 now, I guess.
Yeah.
So she was 26 when she disappeared.
Mm-hmm. And she said the last time she saw her was the year 1993, and that the daughter Dana was 2. So that's so weird because she was there for 12 years, right?
Yeah. So
but
why
she's
wasn't
been
she
gone for longer than 12 years?
Right.
She's been gone for 23 years. Right?
Yeah, because Dana's 26 now.
Right. She said the last time she saw Dana was when Dana was 2. So was she traveling? No, wait.
They died in a car crash. Or that's what she says. That you died in a car crash with Dad. Because when she asked about the father,
right? She was like, who raised you?
But she said they died in a car crash together, right? Or
right.
She said an accident. I don't think she
an
said
accident.
Car crash.
She said crash.
Right.
Yeah.
She said crash.
Yeah, I would assume it was a car crash, and the mom was probably driving. Maybe that's what I assumed.
Okay, I'm trying to work through the math though. So when does
she must have disappeared, and then the car crashed, and then he died, and so that's why she would ask about the father.
Right. No, I get that. But what I'm trying to say is that happened in her head in 1993, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And the little girl Dana was 2.
Mm-hmm.
But that was 26 years ago, right? 24 years ago in Showtime, right? From now, 2016.
Right.
But she said she's been in 1815 for 11 or 12 years.
Right.
So I don't understand how that's possible.
Well, I don't think that I don't know. I don't know if I understand exactly what you're asking. No way.
So
because she's been there for 11 years.
She's been missing for 24 years, but she's only been in 1815 for 11 years.
Yeah, at this point. At the point that Dana drops in. But that doesn't mean that there's not, 13 more years that the mom is going to still be there.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. She looked real stank when Dana was like, she asked her, how many times have you done it? She said 3. And she was like, you can do it, like, you can control it. Like, you could go. She looked jealous, like stank.
Like, you can leave?
Yeah, and she was like, how do you do it? And she was like, I don't know. She was like, what do you mean you don't know? But I get it, sis, because, like, I'm without internet for 10 minutes, and I'm a mess. So I understand. She was like, get me out of here.
She's like, you in that hotspot. You bring that hotspot back with you.
So, yeah. And then it was, like, weird because she would say, like, when I left is how she first described it. And then she was like, when this happened to me. So it was just weird. I don't, like, it almost feels like, but then no, because she doesn't understand how Dana can control it. Because it almost felt like she planned on going, but obviously didn't plan on staying. And that's the whole when this happened to me, right? Like, not being able to leave.
Yeah, I don't know, because, like, it's really, like, I would imagine that, like, Dana is a week away from her own, I've been here for 12 years. Because, like, the fact that it happened to her mom at 26 and now she's 26
yeah.
So I'm like, if you're like, oh, it happened to me when I was 26 and you're 23 or something, then it's like, okay, I got 3 years of this gradually increasing. But it sounds like it's going to increase very quickly.
Oh, Dana.
And I wonder, like, because, like, the phone thing, right? Like, I wondered if, like, is that, like, some kind of sign, like, she's draining her phone because of what, like, this is or something? Like, some kind of sci-fi shit, like, I don't know, but then I remember, like, no, this was written in, like, the 70s, so, like, that wouldn't be the case, I don't think.
Right, unless it was something similar and they've just updated it to phone or something.
Like, maybe, like, it was like a dial clock that would stop. It wouldn't keep time or something. I don't know. But, like, I was wondering because, like, I don't know, and I like that I don't know if this is a show where, oh, she's going to figure it out, or if this is a show where, no, she's going to get stuck, and then that's how the show is going to end. By episode 8 or whatever, is she going to be like, oh, I got my mom to come back, we figured it out, we learned how to control it now? Like, I don't know if this is that kind of show.
I can't figure out, like, the tone, if it's, like, Quantum Leapy, or if it's... But, I mean, it's slavery, so it just feels like it's... I almost feel bad, like, laughing when I do laugh watching this show. Because I'm like, in a few minutes, we're back to slavery, Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's part of a series. Like, I know the Parable of the Sour is one of a series, but I don't remember if Kindred is or not. So I don't know what's, planned for this, but... So yeah, when she gets back, she has the fight with Daniel. Like, okay, wait, because Hagar goes to get something, to gather something, like fresh water or something, and Daniel accosts her. And then the mom is like, run. Like, she was like, I don't have to be faster than him. I gotta be faster than you. Like, I just gotta... Like, she just left both her kids.
Yeah.
And she was like, what did you just say to her? She was like, I said run. She was talking like she know how to leave.
She's like, I make another one just like you. Because she did already.
Jesus Christ. But also, like, why couldn't Dana outrun that man?
She was tired.
No. I was like, sis, you can... He wasn't even running that. It was just so weird to me. I was like, I don't know. Is it the robe? Why can't she run faster than this? And then he hits her in the face, and then you guys notice, like, when she came back, the bruise was like... It wasn't, like, fresh.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
But at least that's how it felt to me. Like, it didn't... Like, because if you punch me in the eye, like, it's not going to go, like, that deep, dark, crimson, like, black eye right away. And I feel like that's what it looked like when she got back.
Oh, yeah.
You see it?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like... We already know time works differently. I'm just curious, like, how long it's been for her. Like, how long?
Oh, I see.
While she's over
in the present time.
Well, over there, yeah. Like, I don't know, or maybe that's just like a continuity thing, and maybe I'm just being weird about it. But I just didn't think her eye would look like that so soon after getting punched in the face, because she went back right away, right? The mother hit him over the head.
Mm-hmm. Right? And then she was like, Dana, drag up. And then she jumped back, and it was Kevin.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it just felt like, and for her eye, if I remember correctly, it just looked completely black. Like this big, dark circle around her eye. I just thought, how did it get looking like that so fast? But yeah, he says he believes her. And there was a part of me I was frustrated. I was like, then white people gonna come back. Stop screaming.
Right.
That's why they calling the cops on you, girl. But yeah, he says he believes her because of how it happened, like he saw it happen. And I wonder how long it was for him too. You know?
Yeah, because
I don't think. I mean, he was still in the same area, so I would say it wasn't very long. I think time was probably the same.
You know, that's interesting. I was just thinking, because I think in the trailer there's a line that was not in the episode. Do you want me to say it or no?
Yes. I'm sitting there waiting. I'm like,
I think, because I don't remember. It may have been in the episode, and I just don't remember it. Where she says what happened or something, and he's like, "You were only gone for a second, and then you're back." I feel like that was in the trailer.
Okay.
Or
maybe it'll still happen. Okay.
I feel like it was the scene in the closet when she disappears and he sees her.
Right.
I feel like in the trailer, I feel like that scene, like you saw after that scene, and he said that.
Got it. Okay.
But I could be wrong, or it could have
I
not
mean,
been that scene.
and not. No, it also it'll probably kind of pick up from that. Like that can probably still come because she didn't give him much time. Like he was just like, "I believe you," and then she ran to get the photo album. So I feel like that's probably still to come, and that makes sense because I guarantee, like, that is purposeful. Like her eye, like how bruised it was.
Oh yeah, they're gonna think he did it. Absolutely, people who are not there are definitely gonna think. That's
no,
what
I mean, like
maybe.
more time has passed from like when she got punched and then she came back. Yeah. But absolutely, that's what I meant. Where I thought, you know, he's sketch, he's the feds, but then it felt like with the screaming and this, and now the way her eye looks, yeah, it's gonna look like he's been over there abusing her. And she bought like the $7,000 bed. And like it just looks like he's gonna move in by next week. You know, two things can be true. Like he can be a piece of shit, and she can really be traveling back to 1815. Like this could be two stories in one. Where I don't know why I don't like this guy. I just don't. Anyway,
it'll be interesting. Like it'll be interesting if when. It's been, because the first time she went back, right, it was the kid, the Rufus or whatever, was a baby, and the next time he was a child, and then he was an older child, and so I wonder if now is she going to go back and be like, now it's been another 10 years, and is it going to be 1825? Is it going to is it?
He's going to look just like Kevin.
Probably. So I wonder, because her mom, obviously, she was doing it, and it was 1805 or whatever, and then that was the last time she did it. At this point in the story,
right?
So I wonder, does it take she's going to be stuck in 1830, and then maybe she has a daughter who's then going to have to do it, and then 10 years later, and then it's generations, until they catch up to.
Jesus Christ, that just made me incredibly depressed. God, I hope that's not the story.
I don't know.
Just perpetual slavery. I hate it. No thanks. I feel like the mother too was kind of she was like, "Are you a slave?" She was like, "No, I'm free." She was all hoity-toity about it. It's oh, good for you. This is still terrible. All of this is terrible. I hate it. I don't want her to spend more time there. I hate it. Ugh. She better take that gun next time. All right, so that is it. Yes. Arm the people, sis. So yeah, that's it. That's all we got. Again, if you listen to this for free, if you want to hear us talk about the rest of the season, you're going to have to head over to patreon.com/podcastfandom, where we're covering this and other shows that are premium exclusives. We do have a lot of free content coming up because of life being the way it was and the stuff that we talked about at the beginning of this podcast. We were not able to record for Ranking of Kings on our usual schedule, so we put that off, but we will be recording for that tomorrow, which means that the cycle starts up. Premium folk get it a week earlier than free, but we are back to covering that. And there's another free show. Why am I? Alice in Borderland returns. Money Heist Korea returns. And I feel like there's one more and I'm drawing a blank, but whatever. Flower of Evil. That is the next K-drama that we are starting in place of Extraordinary Attorney Woo. And we are already way weeks ahead of that, again, over on Patreon. So if you're not subscribed, now would be a good time. That's it. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week to talk about episode 2. I want to say so far it looks like the ratings just get better as the series goes on. FYI. Take that with a grain of salt because it's still people on IMDb. But next week is Sabina.
Mm-hmm.
Is that her mom?
I don't know.
I think that might be
Maybe.
her mom's name. Yeah, Dana Sabina. Okay. All right, we'll talk to you next week.